driller trailer. We created the iconography using a bespoke texture mask, and then the circles were derived from some cells within Substance Designer. We took these cells, quantized them, and then got the edges of that quantization to create rings. And then we used a procedural mask as well as some hand-painted textures to mask out that glow. Once we were happy with this texture, we multiplied that onto the height map, which is used to drive the glow threshold. The glow effect has 3 texture inputs that we need to create. There's an animated glow map, which is sort of used to drive the background effect of the glow. There's also a gradient, which colors that map. Finally, we have the actual pulse itself, which is the texture map that pulses across the asset. Next up is the bronze. This was actually pretty straightforward to achieve. We didn't need any fancy shader effects for this one, just a standard set of unique textures. We wanted to get lots of nice scratches and aging on the bronze. And in the concept, there was also this nice effect on the edges where the metal got darker. So we wanted to add that in as well, just to give it a more distinctive feel. Once we were happy with the visual look of the asset and engine, it then was just a case of wrapping it up. We needed to create LOD meshes for the object, as well as collision proxies. As you can tell, quite a lot of work goes into these hero assets. So that was a little bit of exploration into how we created the Hadesian artifact for the walkthrough. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me talk about it, and enjoy the rest of the show.
So we wanted to thank you for your time. We wanted to introduce Pyro and show all the hard work that all the team's been working on and working towards. The team has put in a lot of hard work in building the Pyro system, building the AI, building the planets, the worlds that you'll go and explore. So Pyro will be ready when server meshing is, and it will be coming out with Star Citizen Alpha 4.0. So on behalf of myself, I want to thank Dave and Ian and yourselves for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the panel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Digital CitizenCon. See you in the verse.
Credits burning a hole in your pocket? Didn't think so. Something tells me, though, you got a pile of junk in that hangar of yours. Turn that crap into scrap at Dumper's Depot. Old Zeke always pays top cred for all your used gear at any of my verse famous franchise locations. From Art Corp to Crusader. Stop on by and tell them Zeke sent you. From thrusters to mining lasers, power plants to shield generators, we got your back. Dumpers Depot, because everything is valuable to someone. Dumpers Depot LLC is not responsible for inaccurate appraisals. Commercial service and delivery fees will apply.
Space is cold and unforgiving. Only the toughest survive here. But even the toughest outlaw has a sensitive side. he doesn't have to show it to everyone. Because with your very own Moby Horizon, you have peace, freedom, relaxation and your very private emotional retreat always with you. Welcome to your very own Moby Horizon. The use of Moby Horizon can be addictive. If in doubt, consult a licensed physician.
A distress beacon is triggered, and a quick reactionary force from the lead expeditionary is mobilized.
Roger, boss. Albatross flight, prepare for drop. 1 minute out.
Loadmaster copies. Dropping ramp.
Utilizing state-of-the-art technology, highly trained professionals arrive within moments.
Albatross flight, 30 seconds.
Every team, power up.
Rolling on 3.
Prepared to deliver justice in even the most remote reaches of the verse.
Execute, execute, execute.
Every team is rolling. Last man, every team down and safe.
Roger, last man. Albatross breaking off.
Elite expeditionaries got your back.
Here at Kelto, we have one simple goal: to bring you the items you need quickly and easily. We've got everything you need: food, drinks, toys for the little ones, guns for the wife, all inside one store, Kelto. Just walk inside to begin your astronomical savings. Using the latest in Moby technology and machine learning, we know exactly what you've picked up and have already charged you. Want something hot and ready to go? How about hot dogs, nachos, or burritos, Kelto? We've even got the latest in Gemini ballistic weapons, like the Gemini F-55 LMG, featuring an explosive rate of fire that tops over 1,000 rounds per minute. It's the best light machine gun you can get in a convenience store. Looking for something a bit smaller for the kids? We also carry the Gemini LH86 pistol, perfect for those small hands. So come down to Kelto today for quality products at low prices.
Come to Kelto, come to Kelto. Hey, welcome to CitizenCon 2951, our yearly celebration of everything Star Citizen is, and showcase of what Star Citizen is on its way to become. As usual, I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. So, what is CitizenCon? When it started in 2013, it may have had its humble roots in Sandy just wanting some place to bring folks together, and a solid excuse for Ben and Pete to watch the Wing Commander movie in a theater in Austin, Texas. But as with all things Star Citizen, it grew each year to become a full day of activities, most recently held in Manchester, England in 2019. Now, with a hiatus in 2020 due to the pandemic, and our desire to remain diligent and responsible in 2021, CitizenCon is back as something slightly different this year. Now, while it won't be the same without seeing all of you in person, and worrying if your plastic bag helmet is safe or not, we hope this year's event brings with it a similar sense of community and interaction as our developers present to you their continuing efforts in bringing Star Citizen's future to the present. And let's talk about some of that future we just saw with a look we just took at the Pyro system. Now, I've always said it, and I'll continue to always say it, we get better with every one of these things we do, whether that's planets, spaceships, or anything else in between. And with the Pyro presentation, we got our first true look at some of the new planets and moons, the process of converting our existing space stations into new outlaw variants, taking those colonial outposts that we've been seeing before from concept to amazingly detailed reality, and perhaps most excitedly, planetary AI nav mesh in action with a 24-hour day-night cycle that will truly bring these worlds to life and provide that universe of gameplay possibilities seen in those multiple different ways you can go about achieving your objectives. And for those of you who were wondering, yes, that was really Pyro 3, that was a real outpost and a real mission. No sandworms here. That's what's coming to Star Citizen and a whole lot more. Now, because I'm the patron saint of bad ideas, let's take a look at some of the comments that came in on Twitch while we were all watching. This should be good. Engion says, using talent from across the globe, that's a good thing. I agree. Adderdoth says, this guy is talking like it's been made. DFX2KX says, they probably have the gameplay, but they want to force folks to stick around and watch the whole thing before they show it. Annoying, but typical for them. We are who we are. We showcase every part of the Star Citizen. Rolana says, someone needs to hand out some meds in chat. Underfern says, I wouldn't buy a melty dog from that man. I don't know if they're talking about Todd Pappy or Ian Leyland, but agreed. Lots of people said, 420 Space Weed, Vape Nation, damp, dank. Gaming Fortis says, just remember, he's more scared of you than you are of him. That's the truth. And then everyone went on a claim spree for a while. James Cameron, yes, the real James Cameron, he does exist. And then finally, Shorty Max said, number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. Wise words, always. You can always rely on the Twitch community. And speaking of community, you may have noticed a selection of community-created videos throughout the day, ranging from commercials to skits to a variety of things in between. Those are all here as part of an effort by our fantastic community team that started months ago to include as many of you in today's festivities as possible. And while we can't show every single one that was sent in, the team did expand their original idea of just 15 videos to a whopping 42 for today's show. So you're going to see a few more as the day progresses. Now, of course, CitizenCon wouldn't be CitizenCon without the swag. Check that out, huh? Yeah. And this year, we've got it coming in two shapes and sizes. First up is the digital goodies pack seen here, which comes with the newly minted Arden SL Balefire suit you may have seen recently on Inside Star Citizen with that slick Theta Geo helmet. It's got the matching Balefire combat knife because accessorizing is always important, and the classic CitizenCon 2951 trophy, which I'm still trying to convince Actor Feature Team to turn into a bludgeoning weapon. Just say Red 1 more time, people. Now, these will all be distributed Monday to all backers. So if you've been on the fence so far and decide to back the project today, you'll get it along with everybody else on Monday. Now, over in Meat Space, since we can't do the traditional swag bag that's included for attendees with their ticket, we're doing a swag box that you can purchase on the RSI store. For the collectors out there, it's got 3 brand new Star Citizen pins to add to the collection, as well as an individually numbered challenge coin that says there are many like it, but this one is yours. Now, both collector's items come in a neat box and bundled with stickers that you can place all over the place, like Steve Bender's desk. I know, because I did. Now, the swag bag made box is available now on the robertsspaceindustries.com website. And we've also got some contests and giveaways going throughout the day, starting with this Astro Gaming headset contest, where folks hosting their own CitizenCon watch parties have an opportunity to submit images on Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag SCWatchParty to win a custom-painted Xenothreat headset seen here. Whether your party is at home or at work, or if you're Captain Richard in his car. And for those of you who don't do social media, We're also giving away some Tobii eye trackers on Spectrum today in a short story contest. So tell us about some incredible moments you've had in person with your fellow citizens and win a Tobii eye tracker. Check that out on Spectrum for your chance to win. And no, I don't have one of those to show you because, as somebody said, I don't give things back. Now, let's talk about the day's activities. We just completed our Life in the Verse, or Life in Pyro presentation. Up next, we've got Ship Talk, where you'll learn about the latest and greatest in spacecraft coming to Star Citizen. Then we got Gen 12 and the multi-core Vulcan, where we'll take you through some of the new technologies that will unlock Star Citizen's ultimate performance potential. Crafting Worlds, which offers a brief look at some of the new tools that make up those wonderful pyro planets we just saw. Server meshing and the state of persistence, which will give you an inside look at the process of expanding Star Citizen out to the breadth and scope we all want it to reach. The Sounds of Space, which for my money is the sleeper presentation of the day. Don't miss out. It looks at the new tools that will unleash our sound designers from the constraints of yesterday's outdated processes. And then finally, Systemic Gameplay and the Stream of Thought. An entirely silent presentation where Tony beams his brainwaves directly into your skull through the TV, provided, of course, you have your SGS brainwave amplitude receiver. You all have your SGS brainwave amplitude receiver, don't you? We'll figure it out later. Basically, it's a big, long day of Star Citizen presentations and infos. That Pyro presentation alone was like an entire season of ISC just crammed into a single day. Which makes me think, can I take the rest of this quarter off? I can. I cannot. All right. Well, if you end up missing any part of the show or just want to watch it again, each presentation will be going up on YouTube later today in glorious 4K. But fair warning, do not look directly into Todd Pappy's eyes in 4K. Or Corey Bamford's. They're mesmerizing. And that about does it for the housekeeping. It's time to throw it to our next presentation of the day, Ship Talk with Paul Jones, John Crew, and Ben Curtis, where they'll be discussing a ship you know, a ship you don't know, and a ship you weren't supposed to know, but you ended up did knowing. It's not invisible any longer. Here's Ship Talk.
Through unforgiving lands, across the impossible expanse, a mirage calls, a distant oasis. We chase what most consider myth, pursue an obsession. That's what pushes us to greatness. The Oasis. It's real. The 400i by Origin Jumpworks.
Oh, that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So we made the 404 in the
end?
end?
It was a ruse all along. It was a real ship. So,
look cool, though. I like it.
Those trailers are always super cool to see the artwork from both your teams.
Yeah, really good job of kind of showing off what I think everyone's kind of done.
Yeah.
Right. So we should probably get on with the show. This is Ship Talk, where we are going to talk about a variety of things today. My name's John Crew. I'm the Vehicle Director here at CIG.
I'm Ben Curtis, and I'm the Vehicle Art Director at CIG.
And I'm Paul Jones, Art Director.
So the 400i, it's a Constellation competitor, and we've got a few of these ships in this category across the board. We have the Constellation, we have the Corsair, and now we have the 400i. And the 400i has a few interesting features that makes it a compelling choice over the others. So being an Origin ship, it's obviously very visually sleek and fast, but also it can carry cargo and a vehicle at the same time. Size-wise, there's obviously a big gap in the range. We have the 100 series at the start, it jumps up to the 300 series, then there's the big jump to the 600 series, and then another jump to the 890, so finding a space for this was fairly easy size-wise.
I think it fills the gap quite nicely. So in terms of the process, normally what happens is we assign it to one concept artist and we start the ball rolling, so it's really just a game of sort of exploration at this point. It's fast and loose. We always have a timeline for each concept, and so it's the pressure is always on, basically. It doesn't matter how many ships we've done, there's always that pressure to get it done and hit the sort of key points. And so at this point of exploration, it's really sort of loosey-goosey in terms of figuring out ideas, looking at shapes, looking at silhouettes, and sort of not locking yourself into a line of thinking. It's basically, we'll look at different ships. So some will be more influenced by the 600i, some more by the 100i, and then we'll sort of do a mix and match. And so, like I said, sometimes you don't quite hit it on that sort of,
I think
like right at the beginning.
Yeah, when you've got like a well-established manufacturer, it's really beneficial because you kind of you have that to pull from, but you also don't want to get into the point where it's just a scaled down 600 or a scaled up. Do you know what I mean? You kind of like, you don't want them all just to look like they're the same ship, just slightly different variants.
Yeah.
So I think the 400 is it certainly stands out within the lineup, but it's clearly an Origin ship.
And I think because we sort of follow the sort of car manufacturers, don't we, in terms of the brand. It's sort of expanding the brand. Sort of the brand also develops over time. So we have like a double.
Yeah.
Since the start of the project, Origin has sort of slightly changed its style a little bit. And then, like say, you don't want just a mini 600.
Yeah.
Even though there's a part of me that would just be like, right, let's do a mini 600.
I do really like the 600. Yeah, the 600.
Got it.
And even at this point, I kept sort of coming back to one original sketch that had been done for the, what was it? I think it was the 100i.
Yeah.
There was a little thumbnail. It's literally, in my head, it's about that big. And the sketch is just teeny weeny. I was like, I kind of want a version like this. This looks kind of cool. And so basically, in the end, I just went in and kick bashed some ideas together.
See, this was before my time on the ship team, so it's quite interesting
really?
to learn a bit more about the process.
Yeah.
It's a great ship. It's my favourite one, Paul, in that case.
A lot of the little concept thumbnails if you see one, because we often show them in Jump Point magazines afterwards, after a ship's been released, you see all the early sketches, and people probably noticed that 100i thumbnail that we did that was rejected for the 100, but then has come around for this, and you never know what might happen with ones that we didn't choose for this one.
Yes,
could happen in the
they
future.
might appear in future ships. So ultimately, this is what this is like a visual that I did. So it's it's throwing together a bunch of shapes, what we call kit bashing from different models, because it's quick. As an art director, you've always got. It feels like you've got zero time to get a result. So it's how do you provide a visual that people can understand in the shortest time possible. And so my understanding of the ship was it was a luxury explorer.
Yeah.
And so you can see here that's why there's a swimming pool in there and a deck. The part of the process is that we show it to Chris Roberts to get sort of direction and feedback.
And Chris was quite adamant that this was going to be an explorer. It wasn't just a small scale party ship. It was it needed to have a function. It needed to be a competitor to that scale and kind of role of ship.
Yeah.
We did quite a lot of interior investigations and just sort of looking at ways of arranging space within that ship, because like we said earlier, even though the ship looks big, it's actually really tight. It's a lot harder than you think to achieve everything that now Star Citizens expect to have in their ships, and all the components and all the functionality.
A very streamlined sort of 2 decks, or really like 1 deck that stretches most of the lower section and the upper bit, which had the pool in it.
Yes.
Maybe one day you'll get.
Maybe we get the pool.
You'll get your pool one day.
So in terms of this process, what happens is we finish the concept, or what we think is finished, and then get Chris sign off, do a couple of paint schemes, and then it passes over to your department.
Yeah. So from the concept, normally we'll kind of take it as quickly as possible into the editor, and that just allows us to kind of really get a good sense of the space from the player, and making sure that everything that we think we need is actually going to fit, making sure the components go through. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of the time is what a ship starts off with, its kind of paper design, its official design document, to the point where we're actually kind of working on the ship. The requirements can change. That might, that's not just because we'll add this and add that to it. It's sometimes a balance pass has been done in the game, and we've realised that a certain ship item, a certain size shield might not be suitable for it anymore, or it might be just that we think, well, actually it'd be great if we could fit the X1 in it because it's kind of the perfect ship for it, but that wasn't, like I say, on the original plans. So I mean, like you were saying, the ship is kind of a hard split with its 2 floors. So we've kept sort of all of engineering and cargo and storage and everything downstairs still, and then the kind of the habs and the crew space is all upstairs with the bridge, obviously. Once we kind of get that white box in game, we then start just making sure that we can fit everything in we need. We also, that's the point that we kind of really start internally showing that ship to everyone that is invested in it, and including Chris and everyone that needs to kind of have a say. And one of the kind of things that Chris was really keen for, although he didn't want this ship to be a kind of luxury party ship, he did want it to feel Origin. I think originally we had like the lift entrance.
There was a smaller, trying not to do hand movements too much.
Yeah.
There was just a single small platform just for the crew that went straight up into
into that whole area was quite tricky, wasn't it? Because there was the docking ring, the docking collar, the lift, and then there was an entrance to the front and an entrance to the back.
Originally I think on the concept you walked in through the docking collar, and like you say, the floor was a lift, you had the collar on the side, and then doors either side, which took you to like a little antechamber that had the suit lockers in, I think it was.
At the front,
and the first bit of feedback from Chris was the entrance doesn't really feel very grand for an Origin ship, and that's when we kind of introduced the stairs and the kind of like the big, not marble staircase, but that sort of idea that you were kind of like, walking into the ship felt a little bit more grand. That had some knock-ons to the kind of interior space as well, because obviously making a 1-person or 2-person lift is something that's relatively small. It fits in a nice tight space, but when you've got a set of stairs that need to fit or need to have a decent height change, that requires a lot more space. So what we ended up doing was kind of opening up this first chamber you walk into, and rather than being divided into separate rooms, that kind of whole space kind of acts as the airlock, and that's got everything that you need when you first enter the ship. And I think it does, like I say, just that initial entrance feels quite nice now.
We don't have a lot of ships like that anymore that have the go up the front of it inside it.
I mean, we've got another one that we'll show after this.
But most of them, if they've got a ramp, it's like cargo, isn't it? It's pure function and not really.
No, I think you guys have done a great job on this, because it was tricky. You know, I remember it at the time, and you feel the time pressure.
And then it was when I was just starting on the team as well, so I was like coming in and be like, oh, Paul, what do we do? Like, where do we go?
But it also, I mean, it's also nice because it sort of dovetails with that original sketch, which there's an element there in that thumbnail.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, and I think at the time I sort of binned it off because I was just I'm sure I had some thoughts about it. I mean, everybody knows we've got a sort of 64 kilobit memory, so stuff kind of like gets lost after a short amount of time. But I think we did discuss it, but then it was just like, no, let's just go simple. But you guys did fantastic, good stuff.
Yeah, and then the next thing to tackle, like Paul was saying, was the kind of like the addition of the bike garage. It was a bit of a headache trying to kind of fit that in, and the original plan that you can see is originally we were going to have it at the back of the ship next to the cargo, or
right
within
at the back of the cargo
room. Within the cargo room. It did fit, but it kind of brought up a few quirks with it. I think there was a few different quirks from different departments. So from a design point of view, I think we could only make it fit if you sent the bike up on its own, which was fine. But because the main entrance to the ship was at the front, it meant that you'd get off.
Yeah, to drive your bike onto this platform, get off your bike, send the bike up, run around to the front of the ship, run up the stairs.
Yeah, and the
then
stairs
just look at your bike.
Opening isn't exactly like a super quick thing. So if you, it just felt kind of like,
in terms of flow.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I need to quickly get off planet, and you're like, oh, click that, right, okay, yeah, send that up. Oh, run, yep, okay, A minute later or 2 minutes later, you're in the seat, ready to fly. Like I say, that was one of the issues we kind of hit, and then the other, I guess, issue was it started eating into the cargo space, so it meant that you couldn't, once you had the cargo fully loaded, there was very little space for you to kind of traverse around the cargo hold. Basically, we had a number of kind of ideas we played with, and then if you click on, we ended up basically putting it at the opposite end of the ship. Yeah. Now the nose, should we call it the nose? Yeah, the nose now opens up, and it's got like a nice little kind of dedicated X1 garage in there. It's a nice use of that kind of spine that was there originally.
There was nothing really.
The gravity drive was there, but we kind of nudged that back a bit. And I guess the mounts for the guns, but they kind of still tucked out to the side a little bit. So
there's a better use of space, because it was like you say, it had the gravity generator there, and it had the suit lockers, but it was weird that you had to go through the airlock to get your suit and then back out. Taking up that space was much nicer. And the other really good thing is all the controls for getting a new ship and doing this, they're all right next to you. So you go, open this. Yeah. You put your bike away. Yeah. And go up.
And I think that's one of the kind of like the nice things of it is you can, I guess, ride up to your ship, and it's just there. You send it up straight up, and there's no messing around. That was one of the other challenges. And then, to be honest, most of the rest of the ship kind of went pretty much to plan in terms of what was on concept. I don't think there was any kind of real surprises. So now as you enter the ship and you come into the kind of like the main body, you're into engineering. This ship does have large shields.
Yes. Yeah. So that was another thing to make it different. Obviously, we've made changes during development to other ships, and shields have changed. So it's not quite as unique as it was, but it's still very well shielded for its size. And the other cool thing about engineering is those rooms at the edge are cool. Yeah, they're climate controlled, so it's another nice little thing to play with. Gives all the teams something.
We're going to have full dry ice and everything.
Full dry ice. Yeah, you can get the
come in and
the light sticks out and
flow out.
A little bit of party mode in there. Yeah, but I think that's it. That was one of the things I think you established early on in the concept was this kind of like cool chamber in engineering.
Yeah, because we needed that space. I mean, you need space to put all the components somewhere, and just thought, well, let's just turn it into a feature.
Yeah. So and it kind of fits with the Origin kind of family as well, I think.
That's good.
And then kind of from engineering, you kind of go straight to the back, and that's where you've got your storage. I don't know if you know the SDU size offhand, but
not off the top of my head now.
No,
should probably put that in the notes.
Correct. Sorry. So you can fit a decent amount of storage in there. You've also got the escape pods. One of the other things we were doing when we were looking at this space with the bike is originally we were kind of, if we put the bike in this area, it meant that the storage reduced. So we were looking at kind of other ways of moving the storage around. At one point we thought, we could put it out in the wings, but then that didn't really make sense because, ideally in the wings where you store your fuel and that sort of stuff, and it just felt really awkward, where this kind of gives us the kind of classic, traditional...
Big block of cargo.
Yeah, big block of cargo.
You can have the vehicle in it, can't you?
Yes, yeah.
You can fit a Cyclone in there.
Yes.
Other smallish vehicles.
Yeah.
Obviously, it will take away
your cargo space.
So it's not... You can do it.
But you won't have any cargo.
But you won't have any cargo, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, we kind of make our way upstairs. 3-man, 3-crew bridge.
Yeah, 3-crew bridge.
And yeah, it's it's very, to me anyway, the bridge is very Origin. It feels very, very sleek. Get a real nice view of the kind of front of the ship out in front of you, yeah, it's a nice place, and it's got the classic kind of Origin kind of hardened, and we haven't got any low-tech screens. It's all kind of projected and feels fancy. Yeah.
Does that mean you can see there's a lot of 600i influence, like from the original concept image that was done for the 600i?
Yeah.
So I was keen to get those. That sort of, it's almost like the black louvers.
Yeah.
And then get everything sort of.
To be honest, they were one of the things that we kind of kept referencing back during the production. Was like, let's just go back and have a look at the 600, because that's one of those kind of shapes that really sells Origin to me. And yeah, so I think it was good kind of keeping them.
And that, it was also, what's the Origin buggy called?
G12.
Thank you, yeah. So, again, we've got the louvers in
that.
Yeah.
The 890 as well, is like all the bigger Origin ships have this sort of arrangement of a single centre seat and two crew ones, whether they're at the front or at the back. They're all sort of that style. So it all plays together.
And then HABs-wise, you kind of got the captain suite and you've got the crew suite. And within those, they've got their own kind of lockers, they've got their own kind of personal ship storage. I'm not sure if it's exact, but they're very similar in their kind of scale. But obviously the captain gets the slightly more space, a little bit more kind of luxury, because he's the boss. So.
At one point it was a 4-person ship, and then we reduced it down to 3. So we've got that extra space for the...
I'm learning loads of stuff I didn't have out today.
Lots of things changed during the concept. Like changing it from 4 to 3 might sound like a quick thing on paper, but then it's like you're losing a seat out the bridge somewhere.
It would have been
lockers.
Tough to fit an extra seat in that bridge though, because it would have you would have had to have kind of had them in 2 banks. So it would have been a bit just purely visual sort of. It feels a little bit nicer weighted if it's.
The whole ship has essentially a triangle.
It looks fast.
Yeah. Looks fast.
Yeah. And then as you kind of progress through to the rear of the ship, this is where, like I say, originally it was
party time.
Yeah, it was the party room. Yeah, we've kept some of the elements, I guess. Yeah, there's still a kitchen, a decent sized kitchen.
It's still a nice space, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like luxury. It's still that sort of luxury yacht.
You've got your wine fridge,
kind of feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got everything you need back there. You've got your food making facilities. You've got your breakout area, and then your big hollow table at the back.
And that was sort of like the, I guess like the operations area, and we tried to make that space feel like it was a little bit more focused with the hollow table than the sort of the breakfast bar that's just in front of it. And I think because we tried quite a few different ideas there as well. Actually, I remember at one point we had like a war table with seating and stuff, but that was a bit tight for kind of maneuverability, and also I think we ended up going with like this standing kind of hollow table rather than a seating one, because when you first kind of like look at it, it felt like an extension of the relaxation area rather than like a kind of planning, what we're going to do in our operation type area. And then basically that kind of covers most of the 400, I guess, as a whole.
So we'll move from the 400i to something a bit bigger and something entirely new, which is the Anvil Liberator, which is Anvil's latest design spaceship, which is purely for transporting ships. So we wanted to do something properly and sort of provide that entry-level spaceship for that career. If you want to be a ship hauler, then this is the ship for you. It provides that good foundational base for it.
It's a fairly regular sort of process on this one. As Jared and I have chatted before, these ships are often described as berths, easy berths, hard berths, difficult berths. I think this one was a fast berth. It's been a while since we've worked on some Anvil stuff, so in terms of the lineup, we have the Ballista, the Terrapin, the Hurricane. The Valkyrie, is probably more sort of, it's one of those larger ships. Then we've got the Carrack.
Yeah.
So a lot of work has already been done for those ships, and we've got, we've got the modular kits. So in terms of a concept process, theoretically, it's smoother sailing. And in terms of our process again, it's that investigation And, you know, each manufacturer has sort of a loose set of rules. I'll say it's loose because there's always space for us to sort of slightly veer and slightly tweak the manufacturer.
Well, I think, like you were saying earlier, like manufacturers change with time as well as
they evolve.
Yeah, it's not like every ship came out with the exact same date with the exact same manufacturing processes. It kind of all.
Yes, yeah. And I think, I mean, that's kind of what I like about Star Citizen is we've got this sort of, it's this sort of rolling kind of like design, you know, it's sort of, design everything is being updated, and it, you know, it's nice that, you know, when we work with narrative and they're like, oh, well, actually it's based on this old design, or whether it's a new stuff. So, you know, one of the early requirements from John, which you can see here in this fabulous designer art.
Top quality design block.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm not sure about that shade of green, but not quite Anvil. But basically, this is super easy for us, and also, you know, because we're working with a contractor about sort of laying out the limits of, you know, because we always, you know, we like to make ships big, you know, so it's always, okay, we've got our metrics, it has to fit within this, like, whatever you do, make it cool, but it has to fit within these bounds.
Yeah, it was quite strict on the landing pad size, but you need to fit a number of ships in it, but also make sure that it really kind of stayed within its, otherwise John will give us big slap wrists.
I'll come after you.
Yeah.
Because on that image there, you can see there's the red box, which is the maximum bounds that the ship can be. If you go outside that, it literally won't fit through the hangar doors and ceiling. So obviously it has to be in there, and that's a max, not a goal to hit, because we've ended up in the past with ships that have a centimetre or two's clearance right at the edge. So when you're coming in and out of the hangar, you just clip as soon as you clip one side of it, then it throws it into the other one.
It makes it difficult.
And you can see there for the extra small landing pads, the green size. So once you've got 3 of them, so at this point in the design brief, it was just 3 extra small ships. By the time you've got these 3 green, and they have some Z height to them, which I didn't put in here. By the time you've got these green blocks, so like you've got to have space for these, and also got to fit in this. Then you sort of start funneling yourself into
and I think,
shapes.
I mean, you provided a reference image right at the start, which is of military hovercraft.
Yeah, the American, I can't remember if it's the Navy or the Army.
Yeah, and so that was like, I mean, people will see straight away the correlation between the two and the sort of influence. But it also makes sense, right?
It's a very
functionality.
I'd say it's a very functional ship, isn't it? So, and it feels like say, obviously, the real life version has been made for that function, and this kind of follows suit.
Yeah, definitely. And so, we'll basically be looking at some of our exterior options, and again, it's always, it's quite difficult when you have something like that reference image of the military hovercraft, because instantly it sits in your mind, and you sort of get, sort of stuck in that thinking. And so, part of my job is also to sort of push the concept artists and say, right, okay, well, what about this? What about that? I think, it's always it's always a sort of dual role. We sort of, you work together, and kind of 2 minds is always better than one, right? So in this case, we're sort of looking at, this is a sort of first stab at it. So there's a lot of similarity with the Valkyrie. So there's the Valkyrie Engines. It's pretty standard. It's just one floor plate, and it's symmetrical. Then we look at some cleaner stuff. It's not, it's a nice design, but it doesn't really speak of Anvil to me.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's cool. I like it. There's some interesting things.
Certainly very hovercrafty.
Yeah. I think just too simple for
too wedgy.
Yeah. This one was asymmetrical version. We've got that massive tank on the side. What it does, I'm not quite sure at this point, but it's it's just visual exploration. We've got the asymmetrical wings. Again, sort of interesting stuff. At this point, we're starting to push into like terrapin territory. So we've got the sort of essentially like the bridge, and it's kind of like got a cowl. It's like a sort of it's kind of like the little turtle head from the terrapin. and sort of mixing and matching. And so, it's kind of interesting. Again, we're doing these things rapidly, so,
Has some pros and cons design-wise, well, because obviously we have the XY metric, but you also have the Z, so a lot of our hangar metrics are quite tall. So the problem with this one was it was just to the height of the ship. The actual height it would have needed to be would have been double that. So then you end up with this really tall, gangly thing because we've also shortened it by a third. So
I like you trying to get yourself into like the shape of a ship. Yeah, that's
really
good.
tall.
Yeah.
And then here is where we sort of start hitting upon something that I don't know where the decision was made, but it made sense to have the garages on that lower deck. Here, you've got 2 tanks lying side by side, which is cool. It looks good, but it isn't actually like an official feature.
Yeah. It was around this point where we were looking at the double layer thing and trying to get these 2 layers to work, or 2 floors to work with the 3 larger ships. So we changed it from the 3 extra small pads to 2 extra small pads, which basically take any single-seat fighter in the game and some around. So I think a Prospector also fits on there.
Yep.
And then we scaled the front one down to an extra small. So that's things like the Argo MPUV, Origin 85X, and smaller flying ships like that. But also, interestingly, that extra small metric is sort of the same as the medium vehicle metric. There's like a meter difference in height, which is the Ballista and Nova. So we went from these 3 extra smalls to 2 extra smalls on top, 1 extra small at the front, and then these 2 garage slots, which can also, if you're willing to try and fly your small ship in there.
You were playing around. You could fit quite a few combinations of ships in there.
I had a shot. I treated it like I was a fan and basically filled that whole carriage.
There was no sort of like door opening space at all. It was
it was Cyclones and
we know what
Rock
the players are like.
I mean, it looked good. I mean, it looked like it looked like a ferry. When they're just full of the vehicles all just stacked up.
Just increases like the risk value of flying it, doesn't it? Like if you've got 3 ships on it, all right.
Yeah.
Got 15.
And need a big insurance payout. So once we have an exterior that we were happy with, then it's then we move on to the interior, and it's only 2 crew.
Yep. So it's 2 crew. You have obviously the person flying the thing, and then the second person who can either sort of a flexible role. There is a turret that they can control. They can go sit in it and shoot anything that comes at you, but it's not really a ship that's a combat ship. It's a transporter ship. If you want protection, you need to bring protection with you or rely on the ships that you're carrying to provide that protection, which is another benefit of this open-topped ship is you come under attack, everyone can launch out straight away. You're not having to fly your ships out one by one out of a tube. They can get off pretty quickly.
We haven't done launch tubes yet, have we? One day.
One day we do launch tubes.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think about that. Basically we've moved on to interiors. Again, it's just investigation of, we've got our function and what it needs to achieve, but, in the last, 2-4 years, definitely the last 2 years, our process has just been a lot stronger in terms of player flow. So there's no more of the Starfarer, higgledy-piggledy
mystery tour.
I mean, that was our first multi-crew ship, so the pipeline wasn't in place. I mean, spaceships interiors was like, I don't know. So, I mean, there's been a lot of learning going on, and so now it's like, okay, if I'm a player, what experience do I want?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get from A to B? I don't want to do A to G to H to get to B.
Yeah.
None of that business. So as we look at these interiors, we just sort of looked at sort of different flow, basically, different ideas. So it feels quite good, and we sort of worked on, again, just flow. So if you're in the garage, you can easily get from the garage into the living quarters. The elevators just run the full height. There's one for crew, one for passengers. So if you're under the ship, you can just easily get up and down. And so the whole process is a lot more streamlined. And there's even even if you're in those top rooms, you know, and like it's, you know, there's a call to action. You've all got to get out. We've even put a nice little set of stairs that just run down the side of the ramp, and so you could just run down, get in your whatever it is,
whatever vehicle,
and then off you go. So I feel like a lot of thought was given to just improving.
And I think it's really nice as well the fact that you've got, like say, that passenger section kind of sectioned off, and they're always ready. But then, like say, you were saying about the bows of the ship and how that's sort of all that technical stuff's like hidden at the bottom, and that feels nice that that's crew only, and you know, because you don't want passengers just, just
definitely
milling around.
And then moving on to, you can see here the garage space and where the cargo is stored. So originally the cargo was going to essentially take up one of the garage spaces.
It was going to be a compromise choice that players could make of that the cargo is stacked down, either down the middle of the lower garage or across like one of the pads, so you could choose. But then decided to...
well, we had a bit of space. Well, basically, the concept guy went rogue. I was like, oh, what about this? This is cool. And we were like,
yeah, it does look cool, yeah.
Yeah, I was like...
Well, like, John, can we have this?
Coming to a meeting. Oh, I've just gone away and done this this thing that we're not going to talk about, but it's turned into the cargo storage room. So
yes,
it's a good sort of save of...
Well, we want, I mean, you know, for me as an art director, I want my team to feel like they can take those little forays off if they want, if they've got a good idea. And, you know, luckily this time it's panned out and makes good use of the space. I mean, because like I said, the ship is quite big. So then we get to the fun part, which is when we get onto promo. I think it's everyone's favourite part involved with this sort of stuff, and that is really sort of, I call it selling the dream. So it's, you know, you're really sort of honing into what a player's experience might be. And I love doing this sort of stuff as well. So here we've got, you know, a fully loaded carrier.
And the core of what that ship is for. Like, you have these smaller carrier-borne ships, is what Chris likes to call them. Like, they're not deep space fighters. They can't go long distances by themselves. They need to be from a parent ship. So the Liberator is, unless you suddenly got an Idris to carry things with, this is what you're going to see going through these wide and long star systems. Like Pyro is incredibly large compared to Stanton, and Stanton's already quite big to go from one side to the other. So we really need these ships to help you lug all your stuff from point A to point B, because if you do it in your Hornet, that's going to be, I don't know, 50, 100 little stops, whereas you cram it in one of these and send it on its way. It's going to be a much better experience for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think this is going to be a fun one to kind of get onto.
Yeah, I think your team's going to like that.
That's pretty much it for the Anvil Liberator. Ship transporter at its core, 2-man crew, designed for hauling 3 spaceships and some ground vehicles long distance. Very cool. Let's talk about the Banu Merchantman then. It's that ship that's been around for
a long time.
For a long time now.
I think fans have been waiting quite a while for this.
Yeah, we haven't really shown a huge amount of it beyond those original concept images. So
no, and I think you know, this is my second round on this. So I think maybe like 3 years ago we did an initial concept round.
Around the time of the Defender, I guess.
I can't actually remember.
So long ago.
Yeah. But sure, let's. I think fans are going to love this.
So there's a few things that need to be updated for the Merchantman. Obviously, we've talked about this many times in the past. As Star Citizen develops, things get added, things get refined. We improve our workflow. So number one thing we had to do was look at the size and the scale of the ship, because I think it was 160 meters wide and 160 meters long. So it's in essence a cube.
Yeah,
but
it's a very tall ship as well.
Yeah, but it was very vague because we had never done a full interior. layout. So
not to like the new system. No.
Yeah, so we need to make sure it fit everything in. So it's always a good starting point. The cargo numbers they've never really been changed since they were originally concepted as freight units, not standard cargo units. So the scale of cargo has changed since we did it originally.
I don't remember freight units.
Yeah.
It was
It was a long time ago. The marketplace / bazaar need to have a good working out. And then lastly, we wanted to have some synergy between the Defender and the Merchantman. So we found a way to get a Defender hangar on board. So that obviously has big consequences for the ship. So let's talk about the exterior.
I guess thinking about it, seems so long ago since I started on this, but the addition of the Defender to the ship basically had the biggest impact in a way, like just because the Defender is not a slim ship, is it?
No, it's deceptively big to me. Like the Defender, I always think in my head that it's this tiny little thing, but
in flight mode it's quite slim.
Yeah,
but then when it's landed, it's got this sort of a
big stance.
Yeah, so this has been. I think I've probably been on this for maybe a year, something like that now. And I said before, we did an initial round of concept work, and it was sort of done more in isolation. So we didn't really have a full interior, and we sort of treated it more as, okay, we need a corridor, we need an idea of a marketplace, we need an idea of a bridge, and we'll kind of sort of piece them together. And so that was maybe like 3 years ago, something like that. And obviously process has changed, as we've discussed today. It's more about the player experience and the flow and things making sense, less rule of cool. If we still have the coolness, but you want it to work right. Yeah. You don't want it to be frustrating.
I think when you kind of do it, like obviously this big ship, so you think, oh yeah, we can make whatever room this size and it'll be fine, but that kind of always sets us up for just a lot more headaches when it comes to our side. So by you spending the time to actually like fully flesh out the interior, it just saves us so much time when we come to actually do the production side of it.
Definitely.
Kind of takes all that risk away from us and puts it up front onto you, basically. Yeah. So thanks, Paul. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, we've tried hard. I mean, you can see here that the ship did have to scale up.
Yep. We talked about earlier. We have those hangar metrics, and scaled up it now
doesn't fit
the hangar metrics.
So we'll get to the solution in a little bit.
Yeah.
And just a quick shot of the front, and you can actually see that from the front it hasn't actually changed that much. It's grown a little bit in height, but gained a little bit of body mass, but overall pretty similar. I mean, we've the ethos of this whole thing is, the ship was really cool anyway. Like, everybody really liked the ship, so it wasn't that we wanted to change it just for change's sake. It was just, we need to make it work. We do need to advance it. And so between myself, concept artists Mike Oberschneider and Mark Gibson, one of the CID's designers, we basically met twice a week, every week for months, and basically gone through this ship from top to bottom, inside to out.
There's a huge amount of ship.
And hands down, this has been the most difficult and hardest ship to date. Like, I've not had a nervous breakdown. Actually, the whole process has been quite nice in a way, but it's just been long. I
think this is the one that, like,
it's a marathon.
To begin with, I was really scared, and then the kind of like the closer you kind of got to finishing your work, the kind of like the less scared I'm getting and the more excited I'm getting. And I'll probably have, when we get into production, I'll be like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then again, once we kind of actually kind of get over that hurdle, because it's quite an intimidating ship, not like just visually, but like
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, we're seeing here the sort of hangar opening. Mm-hmm. So basically, we've one of the sort of design philosophies of the Banu ships is they sort of incorporate tech where it suits them. So they use tech from humans, they use tech from Xi'an, whatever suits them to sort of achieve what their needs are. So for this ship, we've leveraged a lot of Xi'an tech, so it's a lot of that essentially levitation tech. So stuff doesn't have to be physically connected to move. It sort of hovers and then shifts along. So it's basically given us a lot of opportunity for creativity. So hangar here, it's always multi-part as well, so it's always kind of nice. Basically shot from the front. This is with the front guns out, which are S8, that's correct, is it?
Big size 8 guns. One of the original core cool things of the Merchant was all its weapons are sort of tucked away and hidden, so it gives you that non-threatening aura to start with, and when it needs to, then everything.
I was going to say, it's going to be quite a powerhouse, really, isn't it? Like, with its guns and its turrets.
It's a proper transformer, this ship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's probably no area that doesn't transform almost, especially on the exterior. And again,